Good morning, Corona Corner viewers. Welcome to my little show. It is 7:30. I'm out with the dogs. One is reluctant. Why didn't you want to come? I know she has troubles walking. The weather is really very, very windy today, and I'm tending to think that it's like, I'm like beginning to feel like it's higher force because up till now I've been going out and to the dog park and venturing beyond the restrictions, and now I'm thinking there is like a higher force that's telling me stay home. So the only business, there's a supermarket there that charges a lot more. It's like a relatively expensive shop, like it's 24 hours, so it's relatively expensive. And there's a bakery here that sells bread at 17 shekels. It's like twice the amount of money you would expect to pay for bread in the supermarkets, and they still have customers. People line up here. This is a very affluent part of the city, so it's not a problem for people to pay. However, for most of us here in Israel, especially people who work like me, I worked as a teacher. This has hit us hard financially, more than anything. And I just saw something that really boiled my blood, that in Hong Kong, in Asia, life goes on because people wear masks. Because if you think about it, all you need is if everybody wore masks. If we could have masks here, then we would be safe and people could go back to work. And I still insist, even though in Israeli TV they dramatize every death and every loss of life is indeed a horrible loss. I know that if my mother had lived to be 95 or 92 or 85, like some of the victims, I would be, of course, devastated. But still, this virus does not target healthy young people as far as I know. Most of the victims have diabetes here, at least diabetes, some sort of a health condition. So for that, they shut down the whole economy, and more than 1 million people are unemployed and don't have money. And the system in Israel, they do not, like in Europe, actually help people who don't have an income. So while some people can afford to buy expensive bread and have no problem and living a lifestyle of the rich and the wealthy, other people here suffer from horrible financial issues which they wouldn't have had they not shut down the entire economy. I cannot imagine what it's like for all these shops that are closed, all these businesses that are closed. Now our government made promises, but I understand what my experience here is that they talk a lot and they don't do a lot. People here have to struggle, which is why people in Israel are a little bit vicious. Now I understand it. It's a jungle here. There is no, it's not like in Europe where people get help and assistance from their government. And it's not like we're a poor country either. There are a lot of wealthy people here. There are a lot of people who work here in computers. There are people here who own several apartments. You will find here some of the wealthiest people on this planet. And yet you will also find people who struggle. And the minimum wage here is unbelievable. A teacher's salary is beyond humiliation. You would earn more cleaning houses than you would teaching. So the government doesn't care. And we're about to celebrate a holiday. And a lot of people are not going to have money to buy basic things. Just like food. I'm talking about food. I don't know how you could feed a family. This area of the country is not hit hard as I can imagine otherwise. I heard they are distributing food for the needy and the elderly, but we have to distinguish. Not every elderly person is in need. There are some very wealthy. I worked for a while with elderly people that had money coming out of their ears. So just because you're old doesn't mean you're poor. So I would hope that they would distinguish between the people in need and the people that are elderly. So if you're elderly, okay, you can pay for a service. If you have money, you can pay for everything. The problem is people who don't have work and have to feed a family I don't know how somebody with a family can actually survive in this economy unless they have a very good job in computers, a job they can do from home. And it's not like your neighbor is going to help you out, because people here are shut down. They're afraid of contact. So even if they would, which normally they wouldn't, neighbors here pretty much keep to themselves. Especially in wealthy areas, people are not generous at all. If you live in a poor area, people will give you, I'm sure they will help, because they know what it's like to struggle. But people that have a lot of money coming in every month, they have no idea what it's like to actually go to the supermarket and not be able to buy basic things. I'm talking about bread and butter and just simple things. And I've been criticized how I can afford animals. I want to talk about that. And I've also been told people abandon dogs for financial reasons. I want to make it very, very clear to everybody out there. I've seen homeless people who have a dog. More than one even. Animals are a great source of psychological help to people that are struggling from abuse, traumas, just not having the right sort of set of cards, not having a supportive family or community. Dogs will be there for you no matter what, even if you feed them scraps, even if you don't give them a lot of food, they will be loyal to you. Of course, they need to eat. Animals need to eat. I'm really sorry that I don't have a successful YouTube channel like some people have. Sorry, I just have to pick up dog shit. And I don't know, to be honest, I am sharing with you now. I really don't see what the future is going to hold for us. But I know that I'm not going to give up my animals, and they will come first. Their food will come first. Their needs will come first. Before everybody else, they will be eating, because they don't deserve to suffer. Actually, this dog comes from a very wealthy home and a very, very wealthy family that the father is in his 80s now, if he's still alive, was just unable to take care of her, and somehow the family threw her out of a very wealthy villa. He was working in business and he was making a lot of money. She comes from a home of a millionaire, and now I have to take care of her because it's my duty as a human being not to let this animal suffer in old age. And if you don't have something to give to others, what is the worth of your life? That's what I think. And for me, animals are a lifesaver. They've always been. I think now, I'm not the only one, by the way. I'm sure a lot of people. But I just don't understand why people abandon animals in this time. The coronavirus clearly does not pass from animals. Actually, there's a lot of mistaken ideas, false ideas about how this virus is being passed from one person to another. And I want it to be very clear. The Veterinary Association here has published a very clear message. You cannot get this virus from dogs or cats. I don't know about other animals, I really don't, but animals that live with us at least. I also have a cat. There is no way you can get corona from an animal. There's no need to abandon animals and leave them in shelters that are anyway suffering. And if you have money, donate to your local animal shelter, please. Because these animals that serve us, yes, they serve humanity every single day. Just like the doctors serve us in the hospital, these animals are serving lots of people and giving them emotional support. If you have a dog or a cat, you get emotional support 24/7. Yes, they need some food, but for that little food, they do so much. So I ask everybody, whatever you have, if you have the possibility of donating to your local animal shelter, or better yet, adopt a dog or a cat. Adopt a dog and a cat. There's some dilemmas here about whether it's going to be allowed to feed cats. Look, here the pigeons are getting food. That's really nice to see. I was just thinking about them as well. If you have any animals that are living outside that depend on human beings for food and are not getting food, like I heard, animals that are depending on restaurants for their food, I would continue to feed them so we don't see starvation. And street cats, if they die out, we will have a rat. The rats will be invading. Yes, there will be a real plague here. If we don't have cats here to keep in balance the rats, versus humans, we will be in a dire situation. So all those cat feeders are doing an amazing job for society, because rats, as much as I love animals, they are a problem. And so I don't understand why this government is making it so difficult to feed street cats. I mean, sometimes I wonder who's making these decisions. So for all of you animal lovers out there, reach out for your local shelters, adopt a cat or a dog. And if you can't, just feed the street cats. Continue to feed them. If you live in a city, feed the cats that are depending on us. I am assuming the cats here are being fed. Sorry, I have to pick up my dog. She has a hard time walking, so I have to bend down. She's quite elderly. She's going to be 15 at the end of this month. So for all of you, I'm going to be heading back home soon, because this weather is not a very good weather to be outside exercising. It's too cold for me. It's windy, overcast, so it's going to rain any minute. So I'm going to be heading back home to do a yoga lesson indoors, broadcast from Shivananda, another organization I would strongly, strongly recommend you support, or anyone who can. Shivananda Yoga offers you free lessons. If you don't have the money, you can have free lessons online. At least in Israel, they offer that service for Zoom. Twice a day, you have lessons, you have meditation, things that help so much our mental health, because our mental health affects our physical health. They are saving lives, literally saving lives. Here's another institution that's open. They sell juice at crazy prices. So he's smoking a cigarette, but he's buying these cold pressed juice. They sell them for 3 times at least the price that you would have to pay for juice anywhere else, fresh pressed juice. And you can do it at home too. There's no need. These days you don't have to go out for fresh juice. I mean, even orange juice is very easy